Picture pushing through those heavy glass doors on a Saturday afternoon, the blast of AIR conditioning hitting your face, the hum of 1,000 conversations bouncing off tile floors. Somewhere a fountain trickles, coins glinting at the bottom like buried treasure. The smell hits you next: fresh cinnamon rolls, buttered pretzels, leather from the shoe store, and that faint perfume cloud drifting out of the department store entrance. This wasn't just shopping. This was the place, the center of the universe for an entire generation of American kids and teenagers. This was the mall in the 1980s, when a shopping center wasn't a place you went to buy something. It was a place you went to be somebody. If you grew up in this decade, prepare yourself. These memories are going to hit you right in the chest. You didn't need a reason to go to the mall. That's the part kids today will never understand. You just went. Mom dropped you and your friends off at the entrance by the food court, told you she'd be back at 5, and just like that, you were free. No phone tracking your every move. No way to reach you at all, really. You had a few crumpled dollar bills in your pocket and a whole afternoon ahead of you, and the mall was yours. You'd wander for hours. You weren't buying anything. You couldn't afford anything. But it didn't matter. The walking was the point. The seeing and being seen was the point. The whole place glowed under those skylights. Sunlight poured down through the glass ceiling onto fake palm trees and brass railings. 2 stories of stores were connected by escalators that you rode just for fun, walking up the down ones until a security guard gave you a look. The floor was that speckled tile, polished so clean you could see the lights reflected in it. Plants were everywhere, in big concrete planters you would sit on when your feet got tired. And the music, that soft instrumental version of a song you almost recognized, drifted down from speakers in the ceiling, the sound of the entire decade humming quietly above your head. The food court was the beating heart of it all. You'd smell it before you saw it. That glorious mix of grease and sugar and soy sauce all blending into one impossible aroma that meant you were home. Orange Julius, that frothy orange drink that tasted like a creamsicle melted into a cup. You'd watch them pour it, that perfect foamy top, and it felt like the most sophisticated thing in the world. Hot dog on a stick, where the workers wore those striped hats and paddled the lemonade in big clear tanks right in front of you. The corn dog batter sizzling in the fryer. Sparrow with its enormous slices of pizza folded over because they were too big to eat flat. The Chinese place with the guy out front offering you a toothpick with a free sample of orange chicken, and you'd circle back 3 times to grab another. The seating. Those bolted down chairs and tables, always a little sticky, always a little wobbly. You'd claim a table with your friends and just sit. Split a basket of fries, nurse one drink for 2 hours, watch the whole world walk by. The food court was where you saw everyone, the kids from the other school, the older teenagers who seemed impossibly cool, the families with strollers, the mall walkers doing their laps in the morning before the stores opened. Everybody passed through the food court eventually, and if you sat there long enough, you'd see your entire life walk by. Then there were the stores, and every single one was an experience. Spencer's Gifts, dark and a little dangerous, packed with lava lamps and black light posters and gag gifts that made you laugh and blush at the same time. You dare each other to walk to the back where the stuff got weirder. The strobe lights flickering, the smell of incense, that one electric ball you'd put your hand on to make the lightning follow your fingers. You never bought anything, but you spent an hour in there every single time. Sam Goody and Camelot Music, where you'd flip through rows and rows of cassette tapes and those big square album covers. You'd run your fingers across the plastic dividers, looking for that one tape you'd been saving up for. The posters on the walls, the listening before you bought, pressing the headphones to your ear at the demo station. Music was something you held in your hands then. You saved your money for weeks, then walked out with one cassette in a little bag, and you played it until it wore out. Walden Books and B. Dalton, Those wonderful cramped bookstores where you'd sit cross-legged in the aisle reading magazines you had no intention of buying. The smell of fresh paper, the spinning rack of paperbacks, the poster section in the back where you could buy a folded glossy of your favorite band or movie. Suncoast Motion Picture Company with its walls of VHS tapes in those big clamshell cases. Toys at KB Toys, crammed floor to ceiling, the staff somehow finding anything in that beautiful chaos. And the clothing stores, where the teenagers really lived. Merry-Go-Round and Chess King, with their neon signs and their too loud music and that overwhelming smell of cologne the second you walked in. The mannequins dressed in acid-wash jeans and leather jackets. Contempo Casuals and The Limited, where the older girls shopped. County seat for your jeans. The whole experience was loud and bright and a little intimidating, and you wanted so badly to be the kind of person who shopped there. Claire's, where you got your ears pierced with that little gun that went pop, and you held your friend's hand and tried not to cry. The endless walls of cheap earrings and friendship bracelets and scrunchies. Every girl in America has a memory of that store. The Sharper Image, where you'd play with massage chairs you'd never buy and gadgets from the future. The pet store in the corner with puppies in the window, and you'd press your face to the glass and beg your parents knowing the answer was no. The arcade. Oh, the arcade. Aladdin's Castle, or whatever yours was called, dark and loud and glowing with the light of 100 screens. The sound of it hit you before you walked in. Electronic blips and explosions and that constant chiptune music all layered on top of each other into one beautiful wall of noise. Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Galaga and Street Fighter. The cabinets lined up in rows, kids hunched over them, quarters lined up on the edge of the screen to claim the next game. You'd feed in your quarters one at a time, and when they ran out, you'd just stand and watch other people play, learning their tricks, waiting for someone to lose so you could ask if you could go next. That smell of the arcade, electrical and a little hot from all the machines running. The carpet sticky under your sneakers. The kid who was somehow incredible at everything, drawing a crowd as he racked up a high score, putting his 3 initials at the top of the leaderboard where they'd stay until someone better came along. You'd spend your last dollar getting it changed into quarters, and you'd make every single one count. If you were younger, there was the carousel or the little kiddie rides, those mechanical horses outside the department store that bounced up and down for a quarter. The line for Santa at Christmas time wrapped halfway around the center court, you in your good clothes, terrified and excited at the same time. The Easter Bunny in the spring. The photo booth where you and your friends crammed in 4 at a time, pulling the little curtain, making faces while the flash went off, then waiting outside while the strip of pictures slowly developed and dropped into the slot. You'd split them up, one each, and keep them in your wallet for years. The department stores anchored everything. Sears, JCPenney, Montgomery Ward, the big ones at each end of the mall, so enormous you could get lost in them. The smell of brand new clothes. The perfume counter at the entrance where a woman would try to spray you as you walked past. The escalators going up and up. The catalog desk at Sears where your mom would order something and you'd come back to pick it up weeks later. The TV section with a wall of screens all playing the same thing. The bedding department where you'd hide in the displays while your mom shopped. These stores felt permanent, eternal, like they'd always been there and always would be. And money worked differently then. There were no debit cards for kids, no apps, no tapping a phone. You had cash, and when the cash was gone, the day was over. You learned the value of $1 at the mall because you could physically feel it disappearing from your pocket. A slice of pizza and a drink, a handful of quarters for the arcade, maybe a cassette tape if you'd been saving. You did the math in your head constantly, weighing what you wanted against what you had, and somehow that made everything you finally bought feel earned. precious. You remember the things you saved up for at the mall. You'd have forgotten them in a week if they'd just been handed to you. The payphones lined up by the restrooms where you'd dig for a quarter to call home and tell your mom you'd be ready in 20 minutes. You'd memorize your home phone number, of course, because there was nowhere else to find it. If your friends got separated from you in the mall, you just had to find them. You'd pick a meeting spot by the fountain, by the big clock, by the entrance to Sears, and you'd trust that everyone would show up. And they did. You always found each other eventually because the mall, big as it felt, was a world with edges. That fountain in the center court was the landmark for everything. Coins shimmering at the bottom, wishes from 1,000 strangers. You'd toss a penny in when nobody was looking and wish for something, and you meant it. Kids would sit on the edge of it, daring each other to reach in and grab the coins until a security guard came along. The water trickling, the light catching it. Every mall had one, and every mall kid remembers theirs. The teenagers had their own whole culture there. Cruising the mall, walking laps, the same loop over and over, seeing who else was out. The boys on one side, the girls on the other. The elaborate dance of pretending not to notice each other. First dates happened at the mall. You'd meet by the movie theater, see whatever was playing, share a popcorn, and walk around afterward holding hands, terrified and thrilled. First jobs happened at the mall too. Folding shirts at the Gap, scooping cones at the ice cream place, working the register at the record store, getting that first paycheck and immediately spending it 3 stores down. The mall raised a whole generation. It taught you how to talk to people, how to handle money, how to be out in the world on your own for the very first time. The movie theater was its own destination, often tucked into one wing of the mall or attached to the side. That sticky carpet, that buttery smell, the velvet rope and the kid taking tickets who was probably someone from your school. You'd see the movie, then spill back out into the mall, the bright lights almost shocking after 2 hours in the dark, talking about it the whole way to the food court. And it changed with the seasons, the mall did. In December, it transformed into something magical. Garland wrapped around every railing. A massive tree in the center court, taller than the second floor, covered in lights. Santa's workshop set up where the fountain usually was. Christmas music, real songs now, not just the soft instrumentals playing through the speakers. The stores decked out in red and green, the windows painted with snow. The whole place packed shoulder to shoulder with shoppers, bags hanging off every arm. The smell of the cinnamon rolls somehow even stronger. There was a buzz in the air, and electricity. The entire community gathered under one roof in the dead of winter, warm and bright and alive. You go school shopping in August, the mall packed with kids dreading the end of summer, buying new shoes and notebooks and a first day of school outfit. You go in the dead heat of July just for the air conditioning, your house too hot, and the mall a cool oasis. Every season had its rhythm there, and the mall was always open, always glowing, always ready. But here's the thing nobody could see coming. The mall wasn't just a building, it was the town square. It was where the community actually came together, in person, face to face every single weekend. There was no other place like it. Before the mall, there was Main Street, but the mall pulled everyone under one roof and turned shopping into a social event, into a destination, into the backdrop of an entire childhood. You ran into people you knew constantly. Your teacher buying groceries, the kid from your class with his family, your friend's older sister working at a store. It was a place where everyone overlapped, where the whole town breathed the same conditioned air and walked the same shining floors. And you didn't know, walking those floors as a kid, that it wouldn't last forever. You couldn't have imagined a world where the mall would empty out, where those department stores would close one by one, where the fountains would be turned off and the food courts would go quiet. You thought it would always be there. You thought every generation would grow up the way you did, dropped off at the entrance with a few dollars and a whole afternoon to fill. Kids today have everything at their fingertips. They can buy anything in the world from their bed without speaking to a single human being. They never have to memorize a phone number, never have to pick a meeting spot and trust their friends to show up, never have to make a handful of quarters last all afternoon. They'll never know the particular freedom of being 13 years old and loose in the mall with no way to be reached and nowhere in particular to be. They'll never know the smell of that food court or the glow of that arcade or the thrill of riding the escalator just because you could. Ask anyone who grew up in 1980s America, and they will tell you the same thing. The mall was where we lived, not because we were buying things, but because we were together, because it was ours. We didn't have the whole world in our pockets, but we had a place to go, a place to be, a place where the whole community showed up every weekend without anyone having to plan it. We had less choice, sure. One mall, a few stores, a handful of quarters, but somehow it felt like more. It felt like everything. And maybe that's why these memories ache the way they do. Not because the 1980s were better, they had their hardships too, but because the mall gave us something we didn't even know we would miss. A shared place, a real place, somewhere you walk through with your own 2 feet, surrounded by your own people, making memories you would carry for the rest of your life. The fountain, the food court, the arcade glowing in the dark, the escalator, the smell of cinnamon and the sound of that soft music drifting down from the ceiling. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours, and we will never forget it. If this brought back memories, share it with someone who grew up walking those same floors. Hit subscribe to keep these stories alive, and drop a comment below telling us about your mall, the stores you loved, the arcade you haunted, the first job you ever worked, the first date you ever went on. I read every single one, and I love hearing your stories. Until next time, hold those memories close. They are worth more than anything you could ever buy.